Good evening, Skins enjoyers. Hope you're alright, because it's time for Profit Review. Last week we discussed the September 12, 2024 Rust Door, and that means today we're here to discuss the September 19 Rust Door. So sit back and relax, I'm going to start yapping. But before we do, some of you might be new and don't fully understand what the focus of the video is, so I'll quickly explain. Basically, with every Rust Door that we see, 4 weeks later, I'll take a look at it again. I want to see how everything turned out. I want to see if our expectations were met, and if not, I have to sit here and explain why. And of course, with every Rust Door that we see, I'm always making predictions in regards to what potentially might be the best thing to invest into. So, if I was wrong, you can hold me accountable. Right then, so now that we've got everything established, shall we talk about what my initial reaction was when I first saw this Rust Door? And by default, a nice variety. You got weapons and tools, you got clothing and armour, you got some interesting looking deplorables. Okay, that's pretty cool. But when I saw the likes of the Harbour Seal rock, I thought, oh no, not again, not another animal themed rock. It was cute. It was very, very cute. Look at that cute little face again. And yeah, if you can recall, last year we had so many animal themed rocks. Would it end up suffering like some of them, or would it flourish? So, considering that it was September, during that period of time we were seeing quite a bit of a dip with the player count. Maybe a lot of people will be missing out on the likes of this, and when they would likely return around January time, suddenly this goes back up in price. Okay, well that was a consideration. And oh look, Neon Bismuth Sheet Metal Double Door. Literally 1 week after we saw the likes of the garage door, and yes, that did get bought out. It went all the way up to about $8. So, okay, looks like Neon Bismuth is actually developing into a collection. That's definitely an interesting looking detail. And sheet metal double doors at this specific point, halfway through September in 2024, they weren't really doing that bad, but I'll explain that a little bit later. And then we have what? This? Whoa. Tank Armor Tier 3? Isn't that like vaguely green? Yes, it was. So when I first saw this, I was making considerations with my chat. We were doing some, comparisons with green camouflage and whatnot, and it was good enough. It wasn't spectacular, but considering it was much cheaper, maybe that could work out quite nicely. So that was definitely something we were considering. And then, of course, we had the likes of another frozen Crypt deplorable skin. That was very nice to see. Oh, look, white holographic hoodie and pants. Now, immediately I thought, wait, white clothing? Ooh, no, it's shiny. So immediately I thought, okay then, well, maybe it still might work out alright, but it definitely wasn't white camouflage. We did some comparisons. And then, lastly, for what I want to talk about, Danger Barricade. This looks different compared to what it originally looked like, because there were some changes that happened, and we will discuss that a little bit more in a bit, but something very awkward happened here. Right, so the initial reaction is all nice and done. Let's talk about how I approached this when it came to likes of the predictions, which I should remind you, I'm doing with every single Rust Door that I see. So if we were to go hop over to here real quickly, my initial reaction in regards to thinking what potentially might be the best investment for the week, I looked at the likes of the sheet metal double doors. I thought, you know what? We're halfway through the likes of September. We're currently going through the likes of the autumn fall seasonal dip. We've had so many sheet metal double doors being accepted, but hardly any of them have gone down in price. Yes, go back and take a look at the likes of this. Only 2 of them were down in price, and they weren't really down that bad. Considering that we've had so many more sheet metal doors this year compared to the previous years, you'd by default assume that they'll drop down pretty hard during the likes of the autumn fall seasonal dip. Nope, they held strong. So many of them currently in the positive at that specific point. So Neon Bismuth sheet metal double door, after seeing how the garage door reacted and whatnot, it looked very appealing, and I was very confident that the skin creator, Mr. Wildcat, very likely was going to keep producing more and more skins. People liked it, people were buying it. I couldn't help but assume Facepunch will keep accepting it. So, okay, that was the thing I was looking at with the most confidence. Next, I looked at the likes of the Tank Armor Tier 3, so hopping back over to the likes of here. I just want to remind all of you that, yes, I did do quite a lot of comparisons. We looked at this with the likes of Flashbacks, Hoodie and Pants as well, and it was totally fine. It looked okay. So, again, it's all about the price. When you look at the likes of Forest Raiders, which probably costs about $300 for the full set, yeah, you probably want to look for some cheaper options. And this, for some Tier 3 armor, was perfectly fine. The only issue quite a lot of people had was the chest plate with the big red dot right there. Not a lot of people are very happy about that, but there's definitely other options you could pair up with the likes of the face mask at the very least, like the Franken chest plate, for example, a Halloween skin that was accepted like 4 years before this. So, okay, there's definitely some options people could take. So, all right, by default, this was looking to be quite appealing. Now, hopping back over to the likes of the predictions, next up, when I was looking at, I was considering the Harbour Seal rock. Now, in regards to why I thought the Harbour Seal rock was looking to be quite appealing, basically, there was a specific skin that looked like it could potentially, emulate its behaviour. So that was the Pug rock. last year, or more specifically in September 2023, halfway through September, yeah, pretty much the exact same position as the Harbour Seal Rock. This Pug Rock, it was accepted and it didn't really sell that much. And quite a lot of people missed out on this very goofy looking rock skin. Just to remind you, look at that, my word. But quite a lot of people seemingly missed out on this. And when they all returned around January time, it just kept getting bought and bought and bought. It worked out ever so nicely and it didn't really sell that much. So looking at the likes of the Harbour Seal Rock, a very cute, chubby little thing right there, I thought maybe, just maybe, the same type of behaviour could happen all over again. But I had to keep an eye on the likes of the purchases. If it sold, way too much compared to the Pug Rock, it just wouldn't, emulate it. It just really wouldn't. But if it sold reasonably close to it, I think it could probably ended up the same way. So, okay, Harbour Seal Rock, you were looking quite appealing. Next up, I looked at likes of the white holographic hoodie and pants. By default, white holographic could potentially turn into a brand new clothing and armour collection. Tier 3, Tier 2, doesn't matter. So as long as we see it potentially happen, yes, I'd assume that this could potentially still would have improved. But I definitely knew at that specific point, after doing some comparisons and whatnot, that when I looked at all the skins, white holographic definitely wasn't white camouflage. Too shiny, but could still work out nicely by default. And then, of course, following that, I looked at the likes of the other skins. I made considerations for the Danger Barricade. So let's just quickly talk about what happened to Danger Barricade. Initially, Danger Barricade had transparency. Danger Barricade was very interesting based on the fact that you could put it on roofs and you could use it to get like a vantage point. People could try and shoot you, but the barricade was obviously blocking it, but it had transparency. So you could see you could see perfectly fine through it. And if people were to shoot at you, they'd shoot the barricade instead. So you could just reload, keep track of where everyone was, and then start shooting again and whatnot. It was too pay to win. And after just one day in the Rust store, it was removed for a good few hours, several hours. It was like half a day if I can remember. And then they brought it back and they made it non-transparent. So initially, when I was looking at it, I wasn't 100% sure if everybody was going to like it, but it only took like one day for everybody to start spamming videos on Twitter showcasing how pay to win it was. So that actually turned into a bit of a strange sort of situation in which people bought this skin and ended up with that skin, and they weren't happy. And I still to this day have so many people commenting how upset they are over what happened. But it wasn't the skin creator's choice, it was Face Puncher's choice, just to clarify. So initially, when I looked at that, I thought, okay, that looks quite appealing, but I really didn't understand, or rather, no, I really didn't take into consideration how many people were going to try and exploit it. So it wasn't very high in terms of my predictions, but I just didn't really trust barricades by themselves. Like, you take one quick look at all the recent barricades we've had, and they all went down to about 50 to 70 cents. Wasn't looking good. So by default, I was like, transparency is interesting, but just still not sure of it. But of course, I didn't realise the positives. Well, quote unquote. So, okay then, alright, so we had, that talk. And then looking at the remaining skins, Wooden Saw, Speed Rage AK-47, I just didn't really have a lot of faith in them, unfortunately. I thought it was just going to be a 60 cent to 80 cent barter. Wooden Saw, at least, I thought, you know what, maybe if it got like a full set of wooden weapons, it would be pretty interesting, pretty funny. But still, by default, AK-47s as investments, SAR skins as investments up to this point, not performing very well. It really did look like it was going to be a 60 cent to 80 cent barter, and that's why they weren't very high up with the likes of my confidence. Alright then, so we've talked about the likes of the initial reaction and the predictions in terms of what was looking to be a nice investment. Now I can talk about the progress of sales. So, initially, as you can see right here, the highest selling skin was the Harbour Seal Rock with just under 8,000 subscribers. Danger Barricade stopped after one day because it was taken out of the Rust store. And, well, was that potentially going to become a problem? Or, well, I'll talk more about that in a second. But yeah, looking at the likes of the Neon Bismuth sheet metal double door, wasn't really selling too much. It looked very appealing at this specific point. And Tank Armor Tier 3 really wasn't selling that much either. 6,000 subscribers. So, okay. Whilst initially I would have thought quite a lot of ridiculous sales would be happening, it just really wasn't. It felt really quiet. Okay. So now let's move on and talk about how we approach the skins in terms of the abnormal barders. So over the course of the next few days, of course, the change happened to like the Danger Barricade, and the confidence in as to whether it was going to be a very nice investment clearly dropped. We ended up with a fully, what's the opposite of transparent? is it opaque? I think it is. Basically, can't see through it. It's just a standard, normal-looking concrete barricade. It wasn't very special anymore. Lots of people upset. Lots of people tried to refund. They rightfully were allowed to do so. They bought one thing and ended up with something else. So just pointing it out. So yeah, that immediately wasn't looking very nice. So over to here, the likes of the weekly abnormals. If I were to just quickly turn my head over to the left, because of course I keep track of the prices. When we looked at the likes of the Harbour Seal Rock, at this specific point, so if I were to just quickly go here and show you what it looked like back then, the Harbour Seal Rock had about 18,000 subscribers, about 1,500 more compared to the likes of what the Pug Rock had. It was just a bit more. It wasn't ridiculously more, but just a little bit more. Maybe Harbour Seal Rock was looking quite appealing. Maybe Harbour Seal Rock could end up behaving exactly like the Pug Rock. But up to this specific point, rock skins in general weren't exactly holding up very well. Also, throughout 2024, we did receive quite a lot of Twitch drops for rocks, which was quite surprising. So maybe Harbour Seal Rock probably wouldn't have gained that much traction too quickly. It was a bit concerning. I wasn't 100% sure. So I thought, you know what? It's a $2.49 skin. I would like to respect it well enough. I want to do at least $1.20 to $1.70. I wanted to get close to around $2, but I didn't want to go all the way up to it. So kind of played it a bit safe, but still reasonably close enough where I could pick some up if it did drop down about 20%. So, okay, that's how I approached that. Neon Bismuth Sheet Metal Double Door, a $2.99 skin. I looked at it and thought, you know what? I just can't help but assume it wouldn't go down in price that much. And I just couldn't help but assume the skin creator, who did, in fact, produce another Neon Bismuth Armoured Double Door. That was it. Sorry, I was about to say Sheet Metal Double Door again. He had produced an Armoured Double Door. And I was like, would they really accept another one? Considering that we'd already had one Toxic Armoured Double Door accepted back in May 23, and we had 2 Armoured Double Door Twitch drops, we rarely ever saw multiple Armoured Double Doors being introduced in a single year. And so far, to this point, we had 3. I wasn't 100% sure we would likely see the Armoured Double Door. I was questioning things. So basically, I thought, you know what, regardless, Sheet Metal Double Doors were performing very nicely. I'm going to do $1.50 to $2.20. I wanted to get close enough to its Rust Door price, but not too close. I wasn't 100% super confident, but still confident enough to go quite high. So, okay, cool. Then I looked at likes of the tank armor. So at this specific point, only the face mask was abnormal, not the chest plate. It was selling at $1.49, basically all green on the face. We were questioning the chest plate more compared to likes of the face mask. So I looked at the face mask and I said, you know what? I'm probably going to do 80 cents to $1.20. If we at the very least see any continuations on the horizon, the face mask and the chest plate very likely would greatly appreciate that. And of course, spike in demand, spike in price. So, all right, cool. That's how we're going to approach it. Then I looked at the likes of the Danger Barricade after all the changes and whatnot. Just wasn't confident in it. 50 cents to 60 cents. And I don't even think I did a barter in it. I know I did. And I removed it very quickly. I'll talk more about that in a bit. Frozen Crypt storage. It really didn't sell that much. At that specific point, only 10,600 subscribers almost. It really felt like that was hardly anything. And I really did think Frozen Crypt still had a lot more to eventually get accepted, potentially. If I can recall, the Garage Door was submitted in the workshop up to that point. So, okay, maybe with another skin being accepted, it would spike up, it would go up higher in price and whatnot. Things were looking appealing. Plus, we were steering towards the likes of Christmas time, winter time. I thought maybe a wicked cold sort of theme skin would work out quite nicely around December, maybe. So, okay, I looked at it. It was selling on a Rust Store at $2.49. I went with a price of $1.20 to $1.80. That's how I approached it. And then it came to the likes of the white holographic hoodie and pants. I didn't have a lot of faith in it. Yes, it only did about 7,600 subscribers at this specific point. But I was like, you know what? I don't care if they sold at $1.99 each. I'm probably only going to do 50 cents to 70 cents. I didn't trust it enough, and that's how I approached that. And with the remaining skins that weren't abnormal, Tank Armor Chest Plate, 65 cents to 75 cents. Wasn't 100% sure it's going to work out perfectly fine. Again, that big red dot, bit awkward. People didn't like that, and if people don't like that specifically, it wouldn't sell very well, so I wanted to play it a bit safer. Then, of course, with the likes of the Speed Rage, AK-47, and the Wooden SAR, 60 cents to 80 cents. Yes, they sold quite nice, but I just didn't trust AK-47s and SAR skins as investments. Sorry to say, but it's a pattern that keeps repeating itself. And now we can hop over to the likes of here and talk about how everything turned out 4 weeks later. So, Harbour Seal Rock, that basically did end up behaving exactly like the Pug Rock. Yes, it did. So let's just quickly show the history of the likes of the Pug Rock, and then we'll compare it to the likes of the Harbour Seal Rock. So initially, when this was accepted, and of course after it left the Rust Store, it did spike. It did spike up pretty quickly after a while. It dipped down after a while. So let's just quickly go through the details. Of course, actually showing it to you would be a whole lot more helpful than me trying to describe it. God, we'd be here forever, wouldn't we? So just remember this. Initially, for a good few weeks, it drops off as we enter the likes of October, and it just kind of goes up very quickly around November. So, okay, cool. And as time went on, it graciously rose up in price, and it spiked all the way up to about $4 during the past summer, or summer of 2024. And since then, it's been gradually going down ever so slightly. But right now specifically, it's starting to go back up again because we're already past the worst of it. And looking at the likes of the Harbour Seal Rock, it just kind of went up instantly. Like, it didn't even look like it went down much. So as we look over to here, yeah, it's just basically gone up. Oh no, I'm slowly trending downwards. Oh no, I'm not. It's basically the same almost, just faster and going back up in price. So instantly people appreciated it. Instantly people liked it. And what can I say? I guess a lot of people just want to grab that head and smash it against a rock. There you go. Well, they got to get ore somehow. So, all right, cool. The rock did turn out ever so nicely. Now, as I said, initially, I don't want to go all in. I still wanted to get fairly close to the price of $2. And unfortunately, I feel like I've missed out. But again, it did sell like a few thousand more compared to the likes of the Pug Rock. But evidently, what with the likes of so many people playing the game every year, I guess it was close enough. And I guess it just worked out okay. So, yeah, all right then. Now, I should also point out, during the likes of October, as you can see right here, basically, everybody's been playing Rust. What? I thought there was a lot less people playing Rust during the likes of October. Well, the World Update came out, and a lot of people greatly enjoy it. And of course, we're about to have the likes of Halloween Update being introduced soon. So, people didn't really disappear during the likes of October. In fact, it's been played a lot. So, I guess you could probably sit here and say the likes of the momentum after the absolute worst of it during October happened really quickly. In fact, compared to last year, the absolute worst prices was so much better compared to last year. Like, we actually just went through it all very quickly. Very nice. So Harbour Seal Rock, you went up in price very quickly, probably just due to the overall momentum. It just worked out nice. So cool. All right. Can't complain. Now we can move on and talk about the likes of the Neon Bismuth Sheet Metal Double Door. Remember that armoured double door I was talking about? Yeah, it was accepted. It worked out all right instantly. So to my surprise, that was accepted. And to my surprise, at one point, all three of these doors were pushing up to $6. Now, I do believe someone kind of walked in and bought out all the stock from each of the Steam market pages of all of them. But they're still holding up quite nicely. And we haven't even reached January yet. Remember this, January time, when everybody usually has time off, aka towards the end of the year, school break, people aren't working as much and whatnot. Basically, there's also Christmas money. There's going to be a lot more people playing Rust. There's going to be a lot more money in people's hands that they probably want to waste on skins. But the point I'm trying to get across is I can only assume this will likely go higher in price. But it's already at $5.40. Anyway, I suggested doing a price of $1.50 to $2.20. I'll be honest with you, as time goes on, gradually, I wouldn't be surprised if I still pick up a few of these here and there. I haven't yet. I should point that I haven't yet. But yeah, I feel like I didn't go for it. I didn't really chase after it. Like, I could have offered maybe 30 cents more and push all the way up to $2.50. This just kind of just went up instantly. So just look at the likes of its price. Yeah, it just went up basically instantly. Yeah, there you go. Well, mate, if I could, project the future and tell what was going to happen, yeah, I probably would have bought tons of them. But remember, all the sheet metal double doors we had received at this point, I just couldn't assume one being accepted in September was just going to instantly work out all right. But, I mean, look at it now. The lowest price is there. Well, actually, no, there's some that are sold at cheaper prices. But the one that's dropped down the lowest price is only down by 5%. It's madness. And we did get another Twitch drop. So, yeah, there's been a lot of these, and yet people like them. So, okay, yeah, I just offered too low. I should have bought some, I guess. Well, it is what it is. Right, 10 Karma Tier 3. I feel like I was correct in this. So initially, this did suffer. Let's look at the likes of the face masks, for example. So as you can see, with what we see here, well, CCC, sorry about that. Basically, this did drop down in price. There were attempts to get the likes of some continuations accepted, such as a Tier 2 armor set. But what did happen was we saw the likes of boots and gloves being produced, but only the gloves were accepted. But it didn't matter too much because it still caused this to spike in demand, spike in price. So as you can see, it did gradually go down, down, down. I did buy a whole bunch with the likes of my buy order, but after, the spike, it's been doing very good for itself right now. This is currently sitting on the Steam market at $2. There's only 42 of them listed on the Steam market, next to no big fat quantities. So this looks like it's going to probably work out quite nicely as we steer towards like January time. But the chest plate is kind of not doing super great. It's unfortunate. I am very much expecting or to the understanding that a lot of people just don't like this and they'd rather use a different green chest plate with the likes of this. No big red annoying dot right there. Nothing to disrupt the green camouflage. So yeah, this basically matched up to my expectations with the buy orders. This did as well, but with the likes of the continuation, it's gone back up in price ever so nicely. So I will sit here and say I do believe I was correct with the likes of this. So tank armor, will we ever see the likes of some more clothing and armor pieces? I think we're still expecting the likes of hoodie and pants, an attempt for it at the very least. Now, Tier 2 potentially could work out alright, but we have to wait until at least Halloween's over with. We'll see if it gets accepted, but there are no guarantees. So, alright, let's see how things fare in the future. You could still go higher, but as time goes on, at the very least, people look at that as a nice cheap alternative option for a green face mask, compared to like the Forest Raiders one, which probably costs about $10, $15. Anyway, let's move on. With the likes of the Speed Rage AK-47 and the Wooden Saw, basically, yeah, they went down in price, what was to be expected. Oh, well, 60 cent to 80 cent buy order. Ta-da, yeah. So, yeah, they dropped down as expected. They've gone below $1. Everything matched up to expectation there. There's not much else that needs to be said. Now, unfortunately, I'm looking at the likes of the Frozen Crypt storage now, and it's down in price. I honestly don't have a good enough reason to give you. What do you mean, Hedge? Well, we did have another skin being accepted in the Frozen Crypt collection, which I'm more than happy to show you right now. So, a good few weeks later, what do we see? A Frozen Crypt Furnace. But this didn't even spike in demand, spike in price. Neither did the Shima at all. They didn't really move. It was just kind of like nothing. Oh, okay then. When I look at the likes of the listings, well, there was a guy that listed 20. Probably not the best move to make. But I still feel like this could work out ever so nicely. Oh, it did rise up a bit. It did. Only slightly, and it just went back down again. That was quick. But yeah. I'm still hopeful that it can work out nicely. I still think it looks very nice. And it's so bright. All of these Frozen Crypt storages, or rather deplorables, they're so bright. I think they will be appreciated at some point. It's just a matter of who will use them to showcase them. Will everybody finally realise it looks nice and whatnot? I don't fully know. But we'll find out eventually. At the very least around January time, I think it could improve. Now, with the price I suggested, I said $1.20 to $1.80. This is now sitting here at $1.57. So I will sit here and say at the very least, it did reach to the point where my buy orders were suggested, but it's still gone lower than the $1.80 suggestion. So I will sit here and say I kind of want to sit here and say I'm kind of correct, but it hasn't looked like it's going to improve that much. You can debate that. You can sit there and say, Hedge, I don't think you're right. But I do think this price is going to improve. Just not yet. So keep an eye out for this in the future. How many times are you going to say so? Shut up. Anyway, we can look at the likes of the Danger Barricade. I said 50 cents to 60 cents. It's now sitting here at 55 cents. I didn't approach this. I didn't approach this for long, actually. I put down like a very weak buy order of like 57 cents. Look at it now. Wow. Actually, no, it was 57 pennies my currency. I bought like 3 or 4 of them. Evidently, it went down even lower. So 57 pennies my currency would have been 70 cents. Yeah, I must have got it wrong when I was looking at the price suggestions myself. Anyway, it ended up like all the other concrete barricades that have been accepted over the past 2 years. Down in price, really bad. So, yeah, it's very unfortunate for a lot of people who bought this when it was transparent and were unable to refund it. And there are a lot of people. I just couldn't help but assume that the likely situation was a lot of disgruntled people just dumped this on the Steam market and didn't want to look at it ever again because they'd already lost a bunch of money. It's very unfortunate, but again, was not the skin creator's choice. Facepunch made that choice. After a day, noticing that it was just simply too pay to win, they made the decision to remove it. They asked the skin creator to change it. Skin creator obliged. It's not like it could do anything else. They put it back in the Rust store. Nobody cared for it anymore. Didn't make that much more sales. It is what it is. So Everything basically matched up to expectation there, and then it went even lower. Alright then, well, I can't help but assume it was, like, set to be doomed. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. Right, so moving on from the likes of that, we also happen to have the likes of white holographic hoodie and pants. I sat here and said 50 cents to 70 cents. Currently right now, it's sitting on the Steam market at just over $1. So it's doing a little bit better, but there's like hardly any of these listed on the Steam market as well. I really don't think people cared enough for it. Could this work out ever so nicely in the future, simply due to the sheer lack of, quantity provided? Well, I'm not seeing any interest, really. 7 sales happened in the past 24 hours. 6 sales happened in the past 24 hours. Now, we'll bring this up. I'm pretty sure the skin creator actually did produce a continuation. Yes, he did produce Tier 3. I think he submitted that during the likes of the Halloween submissions, which probably wasn't the best choice. I'm talking about like last week, if you're aware of this specific time when this video comes out. So just pointing it out. So yeah, maybe it gets accepted. Maybe we do see this spike demand, spike price, and with hardly any stock in the Steam market, like I just showed you, it could easily go up in price based on what people perceive. But people actually have to list it on the Steam market. I don't think this is going to really change that much. I'm not 100% sure if we even do see the likes of an actual continuation being accepted, but hey, Face Puncher's the one who's going to make that choice, and they're the ones who picked it originally. Like, here's the funny thing. This skin creator, at this specific point, hadn't made a skin for 6 months. In fact, the white holographic hoodie and pants were the last skins he produced, and then he went and took a break. But then this was accepted, and then he's kind of basically come back. He made a Halloween skin. He made these 2 skins. You get the idea. They looked at this skin. But if they were to just slowly go down here, they could have actually picked the winter camo hoodie and pants. They actively avoided this. This was actually intended to be camo. The holographic was not intended to be camo. You don't see this being like showcased in the snowy tundra or anything, do you? So just to clarify, it was never intended to be camouflage. That was, but Face Puncher didn't pick it. So, strange choice for a skin to be accepted, considering the skin creator was gone for 6 months, and evidently the price hasn't really gone anywhere. My suggestion for a price seems to be okay. I have picked up a bunch of these with my buy order. Not like a ton, but a good 8 pairs of them, I guess. So I've picked up some, but if you went higher and you did manage to pick up some yourself, feel free to comment below. But I just don't really know where that's going to end up from here and now. It's got hardly any listings, so it doesn't really look like it's going to be changing its price anytime. But it doesn't look like there's any interest, so it doesn't look like it's going to go up in price anytime. We shall see. Maybe it does get the collection continuation. So overall, with the likes of this Rust store, it was alright, I guess. Now, of course, certain skins did work out ever so nicely as, interesting things developed. But what did the next Rust store look like? The last Rust store for September 2024, next week's video, and it was pretty interesting. There's quite a lot of skins here that sold hardly anything, and it only worked out ever so nicely for them. But looking at all of these skins, I don't think I've seen immediate collection continuation, so it didn't really look like anything here had great impact and likes the things here. So overall, just a fairly routine Rust store. Not everything works out as you expect, but that's the fun of it when you try and invest into these things. So, yeah, feel free to comment below. Did you buy any of these skins? Have you made any profits by doing some flips? How many of you bought the likes of the Seal Rock, the Neon Bismuth Sheet with a double door, the Tank Armor Tier 3? How many of you bought the Danger Barricade and ended up stuck with it? Well, some of you probably bought it and just kept it anyway because you're happy. You didn't care if it changed and whatnot. But I know there was quite a lot of you that did try to refund it and it didn't work out very well. So it is what it is. I'm very sorry to hear that happened. And yeah, so that's basically it. Thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. Best of luck with you and your investments. Catch you later. See you. Goodbye.